This video will show you how to use StatCrunch to produce box plots and identify important summary statistics. The data I will be analyzing is part of a study to identify the factors possibly associated with depression. The study was done in Los Angeles in the early 1980s, and it was on non-institutionalized adults. Prior to creating this video, I saved an Excel file to my desktop called Depression. So let's go ahead and begin to analyze the data. We're going to select StatCrunch from the MyStatLab menu and click on it. Then we're going to load our data, load data from a file on my computer. We're going to choose the file, and the file is called Depression. Then we're going to scroll down and load the file. We see across the top that there are many variables. There's the ID of the person. There is the sex of the person identified as 2 is coded for female and 1 is coded for male. If we look in this column, CESD, these are the depression scores. 0 is low or no depression, and it ranges to a high of 60. So 60 is very depressed. Drinking is also a categorical variable that has been coded. 1 means yes, they are a regular drinker, and 2 means no, they are not a regular drinker. So we're going to proceed to create a box plot. We're going to do box plot, so under graph, pick box plot. The variable of interest is CESD, and we're just going to look at the females. So where it says where, we're going to double click on sex. We're not going to type it in, we're going to pick it in the correct column. Then we're going to hit equals, and it's a coded variable. We're not going to type female because that's not the way it was coded. We're going to hit equals 2. If it was coded as female, we would type female, just as it is typed in the data. And then we're going to hit OK. And we're going to group them by the variable drink. We're going to draw the boxes horizontally, and we would like to call up both the mean and the median, and then we're going to cursor down and we're going to provide some labels. The X label is going to be the depression score, for females. And the y-axis is going to be a code for 2 equals non-drinker, and 1 equals a non-drinker, and the 1 is going to be a regular drinker. And that'll be it. So let's talk a little bit about how we can get some summary statistics from this box plot. So the red bar is the median. So if we hover over the median box, median line, the red line, we can see that for non-drinkers the median is 5.5, whereas for regular drinkers the median is 7. So there is a higher median depression score for regular drinkers than for non-drinkers. If we hover over the green line is the mean. We see that the mean for non-drinkers is 8.77, and we have a higher mean, 10.04ish, for the individuals that are regular drinkers. So I have inserted both box plots into a document, and I'm going to summarize this in a table. There's a column for the means that we found by clicking on the green line, and for the medians that we found by clicking on the red line. We'll notice that regular drinkers have higher means and medians than non-drinkers. If I wanted to put this into a pretty clear English sentence, it might go something like this. Both the mean and median CESD depression scores are higher for females that are regular drinkers than females that are not regular drinkers. This suggests that for females, regular drinkers have higher depression scores than those who are not regular drinkers. And a little aside, this is not necessarily a statistical significant difference, but something that needs further analysis, and we'll do that later in the course. Now, if we go back to our box plots, if instead of hovering over the red and the green lines, we hover over the box itself, we see a lot of additional information. We see the total number of values, the number of outliers, which we can see for non-drinkers is 3 high outliers, the interquartile range, which is the difference between Q3 and Q1, the minimum value, and the maximal value. We can do the same for the females that were non-drinkers. There were 139 of those. There were 6 high outliers. The interquartile range was 11. That's the difference between Q3 and Q4. And the lower limit was 0, and the upper limit was 29. I meant to comment on the fact that since the mean is bigger than the median for both categories of drinkers, that we suspect that the distribution of depression scores for females is skewed to the right. So that being said, what I did is I copied and pasted this information regarding all of the other summary statistics into my document, and I decided to summarize the IQRs for both drinkers and non-drinkers. So what can we fathom from this? That the IQR for females that are regular drinkers is higher than for non-regular drinkers. Namely, the width of the box for the drinkers is wider than the width of the box for non-drinkers. If we wanted to summarize this in an English sentence, it would say that the IQR for females who are regular drinkers is higher than for females that are not regular drinkers. This suggests that there is more variability in the depression scores of females who are drinkers than females who are not regular drinkers. And finally, if we wanted to examine the residuals, not the residuals, I'm sorry, the outliers, the high outliers for the females that are regular drinkers, we could click and put a little box around these high outliers, and we would see at the bottom who these outliers are. For example, if we were interested in identifying the gender, they should all be 2 because they are females. If we wanted to identify the age, we could look in the age column and then scroll down just in case we were curious to see what the age of the other high outliers are. Another one was 18. There are 6 of them. Another one was 33. Another one was 59. Another was 24. And then 31. And that appears to be all of them. So if we wanted more information about those individuals that were outliers, females that were regular drinkers, that's how we could do it. So I hope you find this discussion helpful when you're completing assignment 1. Not only should you look back on this video for the mechanics of creating the box plots and finding out what the means and medians are in the summary statistics, but I'd like you to also focus on the way I interpreted the box plots, the means and medians, the interquartile ranges, and so forth. Notice I avoided using non-statistical terms. I didn't say things like, the mean is a lot larger than the median. The words a lot are not statistical. Just say the mean is bigger than the median. Because in order to show that it is significantly bigger than the median, that's a statistical test that will come later in the course. Again, I hope this video helped. If you have any questions, do feel free to email me.